Napoleon Bonaparte was one of the most influential and controversial figures in world history. He was a military genius, a political reformer, and an emperor who reshaped Europe through war, law, and ambition. Napoleon was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica, shortly after it became part of France. He was not born into power. His family belonged to the lower nobility, with limited wealth and uncertain status. From the beginning, Napoleon lived as an outsider, Corsican by identity, French by opportunity. As a child, he was introverted, intense, and deeply ambitious. He spoke French with a strong accent and was often mocked by classmates. Instead of seeking approval, Napoleon turned inward, developing a fierce discipline and an obsession with history, mathematics, and military strategy. At the age of 9, he was sent to military school in mainland France. He trained as an artillery officer, a role that emphasized precision, calculation, and tactical thinking. Artillery would later become one of his greatest advantages on the battlefield. The French Revolution transformed Napoleon's life. As the old monarchy collapsed, opportunity replaced lineage. Napoleon aligned himself with the revolutionary cause, not out of idealism alone, but because it rewarded talent and loyalty over birth. In 1793, he gained national attention during the siege of Toulon, where his artillery strategy helped defeat royalist and foreign forces. At just 24 years old, he was promoted to brigadier general. Napoleon's true rise began with the Italian campaign of 1796. Outnumbered and underfunded, he led French forces to a series of stunning victories against Austria and its allies. He moved quickly, struck unexpectedly, and broke larger armies into isolated parts. Europe took notice. In 1799, while France struggled under political instability, Napoleon returned from Egypt and seized power through a coup d'état. He became first consul of France, effectively ending the revolution and centralizing authority in his own hands. Napoleon did not rule through chaos. He ruled through structure. One of his most lasting achievements was the Napoleonic Code, a unified legal system that established equality before the law, protected property rights, and influenced legal systems across Europe and beyond. Many principles of modern civil law trace their origins directly to his reforms. In 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of the French. By placing the crown on his own head, he sent a clear message. His authority came from himself, not from tradition or the church. At the height of his power, Napoleon controlled most of continental Europe either directly or through allied states. His armies were feared for their speed, discipline, and adaptability. He rewarded merit, promoted talent, and inspired fierce loyalty among his soldiers. Napoleon fought over 60 major battles and lost relatively few during his rise. His greatest victory came in 1805 at the Battle of Austerlitz, often called his tactical masterpiece. There, he defeated the combined forces of Russia and Austria through deception, timing, and precise maneuvering. But Napoleon's ambition had no natural limit. He attempted to weaken Britain through economic warfare, imposing the continental system to block British trade. Instead, the policy strained European economies and turned allies into enemies. In 1812, Napoleon made his most catastrophic decision, the invasion of Russia. With an army of over 600,000 men, he marched east, expecting a decisive victory. Instead, he encountered scorched earth tactics, disease, and one of the harshest winters in recorded history. The retreat from Moscow destroyed his army. Fewer than a quarter of his soldiers returned. Napoleon's aura of invincibility was broken. In 1814, after a series of defeats, Napoleon abdicated and was exiled to the island of Elba. Most rulers would have disappeared into history. Napoleon did not. In 1815, he escaped Elba and returned to France, regaining power without firing a single shot. This period, known as the 100 Days, ended with his final defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. This time, there would be no return. Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, far from Europe and any chance of escape. He spent his final years dictating memoirs, reflecting on his legacy, and attempting to control how history would remember him. He died on May 5, 1821, at the age of 51. The exact cause of death remains debated, with theories ranging from stomach cancer to chronic poisoning. Napoleon's legacy is deeply divided. To some, he was a tyrant who sacrificed millions of lives for personal glory. To others, he was a modernizer who dismantled feudal systems, promoted meritocracy, and spread revolutionary ideals across Europe. What is undeniable is his impact. Napoleon changed how wars were fought, how states were governed, and how power was justified. He proved that an individual, armed with intelligence, discipline, and ambition, could rise from obscurity to dominate an entire continent. His life remains a warning and an inspiration, a study in brilliance, excess, and the price of limitless ambition. Napoleon Bonaparte did not simply live in history, he reshaped it.